Hi there people of the PokeMoshPit community, my name is Jordan, also known as Kyprotonic on YouTube. I'm one of the new posters, I guess, or directors on the PokeMoshPit channel, and I have a really long match here against FrostyPixie, who's also another director on this channel. So please sit back, relax and enjoy, and hopefully you enjoyed the whole match. I have a Hippodon lead, she has a Machamp lead, and as you can tell so far this match is going to be sped up really fast, so hopefully I can try and keep up. But if I don't, just watch the gameplay as it is. So most of the time when you come up against like good players, sometimes they do have like a Machamp lead, which when I came back into the game I wasn't expecting straight away. But when I was the time around playing most of the time, Machamp was a very popular Pokemon. The type of team I'm testing out today is actually like a Sandstorm with involvement of Toxic. It's something I just developed, not I actually made up or anything like that. I mean, I'm just using it because I kind of like it. So at this point I'm going to Blissey. Please don't hate me for using a Blissey because I know they can be annoying, but they are easily killed if you have the good Pokemon. So like Lucario and Infernape can be a good counter to Blissey. So at this point she sets up a Stealth Rock with the Swampert. I'm going to stay in here, I'm going to get off a Toxic on the switch, and she decides to switch into a Snorlax, which is a very good special wall. So I could tell this match is going to be very long. When I was playing it, I knew it probably would be a very long match because I did see Swampert, then I saw Snorlax. I thought things are going to be quite tricky just to take down. So I'm going to go into my Gliscor here because I figured she's going to try and set up a Curse. That's not the case, she actually sets up a Stockpile, which raises defense and special defense. So I'm going to try and prevent her from setting up anything else or even healing away all that Toxic with like Rest for now. So I'm going to use Taunt with my Gliscor. So my thinking process is here. I could have probably gone for another Toxic here, knowing that she's going to have to switch out. Maybe she didn't have too much for my Gliscor. It was tempting to use as a Toxic, but I didn't take the risk there, which probably would have been the smarter move to do. But anyway, I use U-turn with my Gliscor, switching to Blissey once again, knowing that I probably can wall this Swampert for days. I don't really have any other attack on this Blissey apart from Seismic Toss. She decides to stay in and roll me away. So in came a Metagross, which is actually choice banded. It possibly will be a 2-hit KO from this point with me using Earthquake. So let's have a look at the damage, and it probably is now at this point. It did a nice number on the Swampert, but I mean Swampert's a beast. It can take physical or special hits, and its only weakness is grass, so it's quite hard to beat sometimes. So I'm going to continue staying in, and I'm going to go for another Earthquake, but in comes the Togekiss. So I'm obviously locked into Earthquake, so I can't really do too much. So I'm going to have to switch out. I decide to go into my Hippodon because I figure maybe this Togekiss is going to use like Thunder Wave. So yeah. Aura Sphere comes the way. I take it very well. And then she decides to switch out, goes into a Jirachi of her own. And that's one of the Pokemon I'm carrying around on this team. Now, if you don't know what Sandstorm team is, it basically revolves around Pokemon. I don't know, if I had to put it in my context, it's Pokemon that don't really, on your team, who don't take damage. The Sandstorm effect will boost up your Rock-type Pokemon's special defense. But I tried to figure out a team that wouldn't take like Sandstorm damage each turn. I don't mind like Blissey taking the damage because it does have Wish. But most of my other Pokemon on the team, actually every other Pokemon on my team, don't take any damage at all from the Sandstorm, which is great. Now going back to the match, in comes the Togekiss once again. I decide to switch out from my Metagross. I'm going to go into my Gliscor. I'm going to take the Aura Sphere very well. I don't really have anything other than maybe to try and Toxic this Togekiss, because if I can get a few Toxic up on any of her Pokemon, I know that this Togekiss will be carrying a Roost, but I know I can hopefully stall the thing out for days. I'm going to go for Taunt here just to prevent it from using any more Roosts, because if I can stop using it from healing, then things are going to be okay for me. She did try to go for the Air Slash, but I do have Sand Veil, which does actually increase the chances of her missing any of her attacks that she tries to use against me. So I'm going to use U-turn. I'm going to go into Jirachi now, because I try to scare this thing out with like Ice Punch. And I think she's going to switch out here, which is probably the safest move to do. And I go with the U-turn, probably expecting the Snorlax switch, which is fine. I could have gone for the Iron Head there, but I just took the safer move, and I'm actually going to get the switch advantage once again. So I decided to switch into Metagross, and I think I'm going to go for the Meteor Mash here, because I thought maybe it would have took out the Snorlax there, but unfortunately I do miss, which is sometimes the case with like Meteor Mash or any other move that doesn't have 100% accuracy. Now, as I'm a new director, if you want to call it that, or a new poster on this channel, I do have my own channel, which will probably be in the description box thing down below. You can come and check that out. I do post Pokemon battles like this. I also did like Pokemon walkthroughs in the past, but I've only recently just gotten back into Pokemon in a whole. And if you have played like Black and White, that could be a possibility I may be thinking of doing in the future. Or Black and White battles, and even a walkthrough for it. I just need to, I'm more or less waiting for the English release before I do play it, because I'd rather not play the game in Japanese, if that makes sense, because I won't have a clue. I decided to use Wish Protector against the Machamp. Not really Wish Protect against it. I predicted the switch, go for the Wish, then go for the Protect. Now, the Machamp is like the main threat to my Blissey, and if I have to be honest, it's like one of the main threats to my whole team. She makes a good prediction here, and she goes for the Ice Punch, knowing that I'm going to go into Gliscor. I now decide to switch into my Heatran on the next turn. I go with a substitute, hopefully expecting FrostyPixie to switch out with the Machamp, but that's not the case. Anyway guys, if I sound any different to what people may know my voice as, it's probably because it's very sore at the moment. So it's quite tricky for me to narrate a full narration without actually possibly pausing the video at one point. So I go with Fire Blast on the switch. In came a Starmie, which was fine. I knew the Starmie was gonna come in, but I knew it wasn't gonna take the hit quite well. I was quite worried of the Surf. It was a bit risky for me to switch out there, because if the Starmie did have recover, all that damage I did then with the Fire Blast from the Heatran would have been for nothing. So I decided to go with a Wish here, probably expecting the switch. Or not the switch. I just knew she was going to continue to attack, because at this point the Starmie cannot switch out, because she did tell me that she wasn't carrying the recover. So that was a good thing for me. So I got rid of the Starmie, and that's like one threat from her team gone. Now I do have a question for you guys, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. It's up to you. Now my question is, what's your type of what's your favorite type of team? Now this could be from what I'm trying to say is, I like to play a battle where I kind of stall out the opposing player. I like to use teams like Sandstorm, or even Sunny Day teams or Rain Dance teams. If you guys like those type of teams, let me know. So, you know, if you just leave a comment below what type of team you like to use, if it's even like Sandstorm, Hail, the Sunny Day team, or the Rain Dance team, for example. And also, do you prefer like stallage type teams, or teams that completely go on the sweeping mode and just destroy the opposing team in like 10 turns or something? Not saying that you could beat a team in 10 turns, I'm just saying something like that sort of equations. Anyway, back to the match. I go into Heatran now, and I'm going to go with the Fire Blast. I knew the Jirachi was Scarf, so this is the only reason why I decided just to stay in here. Take my opportunity just to go with the Fire Blast, knowing the result of the Jirachi would have been fainted, but she decides to sacrifice the Togekiss now, and after the Staff Rock damage, that's definitely going to die. So in comes the Jirachi once again. She goes with the trick just to maybe hopefully expect me to go for like substitute, but I wasn't going to take that risk, because I knew that's the only reason why she would bring the direction, just to try to trick it. So yeah, I just finished that thing off with the Fire Blast. Now there's only one big threat left for her to try and avenge everything that she's accomplished in this match, and that's just with her Snorlax. I'm gonna go into Hippowdon, and at this point I thought my thinking process would be just to sacrifice my Hippowdon, because I could go straight into Metagross straight after and just explode, because I figured even after one stockpile, if this Snorlax got the opportunity just to set one up, I knew I could just still use the explosion and straight OHKO the whole Snorlax's HP, because I ran a damage calc and I just tried to prevent her from getting any more up. So this is kind of like where I do stall the match out a little bit longer than what I should have done. I probably should have just gone straight into Metagross, took the risk of, you know, not her waking up on the turn I did bring my Metagross in, and just straight out explode, and then just like this match would have been a little bit longer than what it would have should have been. But I'm a bit cautious sometimes, and that's like my gaming style sometimes. I sometimes don't always do the obvious move or do the correct move when necessary, so it can be a little bit silly of me for not doing that, but hey, we all have our own game style, so you follow that and I'll follow mine. So eventually, after a few more turns, I go into Metagross. I ran a damage count right before the whole of this, because I just needed to know if I could explode and just take out the Snorlax, which I do. So that's the end of the game, and this was a 2-0 victory for me. And guys, if you like these type of battles, come check out my channel, and other than that, I'll see y'all later.